Welcome to 10 Minutes Today, your thrice weekly podcast, YouTube video series, the favorite one by now it should be. My name is Jake, that's Matej, pretending to write, but he's not actually writing.
I had some important notes to take about this bill, M103.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we come to you Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't know if I said that already, but yes. This isn't a bill, it's motion. M103 in
Don't
Canada.
make that mistake.
Finally, Canadian politics made world news. Isn't that exciting? Shut up.
It is exciting.
Now
Don't make the
everyone
mistake,
yelling.
it's not a bill, it's not a law, it's a motion.
Motion 103 calls for three things. It was brought by a Liberal member of the House of Commons in Canada. And she is an Islamic Canadian citizen, she's a Muslim, she practices the faith of Islam.
Okay. And
it calls for three things. And this is a dumbed down version of the full motion, and I encourage you to read it, especially if you are a Canadian citizen, you should care about this.
And you should know.
But the simple version is that three things it calls for is to condemn Islamophobia and all forms of systemic racism and religious discrimination. Of course it's true, I'm reading from it.
And religious
to
discrimination.
quell the increasing public climate of hate and fear.
Yep.
And to compel the Commons Heritage Committee to develop a government-wide approach for reducing or eliminating systemic racism and religious discrimination, including Islamophobia.
Now, wait. That's all.
That is all.
That's all for the motion. I don't want anybody to start looking too into it. I know a lot of people are bringing things up that are not included in the motion.
Sure.
So, as a quick summary, basically, the motion calls for a committee that will study how to battle and tackle religious discrimination in Canada.
Yes.
That's it.
Specifically, Islamophobia.
Sure. Wow, I fucked up.
I have a huge problem with this. I am a strong Liberal supporter in Canada, and I have a major problem with this motion.
Sure.
This sets a precedent that our government is okay with limitation of freedom of speech.
Where did it? But it doesn't say.
It does. It doesn't have to, though. The idea that we have now. It was like, let me get the full vote count. Actually, we'll post it here somewhere. It was over 200 voted for it, and then I think 92 is the number of Conservatives and NDP in the House that voted against it. This tells us that the majority of people sitting in our parliament think that Islamophobia is A, problem.
Of course it is.
B, that people who are afraid of the faith of Islam should be persecuted for that fear.
Why?
Because you're saying our government wants to quell the fear of Islamophobia. That's what it says.
To quell the fear, yeah.
To quell how is the government shouldn't give a shit what you're afraid of. It shouldn't matter. That is not the government's responsibility. No. If I have so many friends that are Muslims and in the Islamic faith, and they're the most peaceful people. But you are a moron if you think that terrorism isn't predominantly conducted by Muslims. You're a moron if you think that. And to say, I don't know what's going on, but I am afraid of people coming to our country who are Muslim, I don't agree with you, but I would never say that you don't have the right to feel that way.
Sure, but that's what it's saying. We want to by increasing education and letting people know.
Increasing education, yes.
To quell the fear.
Our government still hasn't said that Islamic terrorism is a problem. How is that increasing education? They're quelling the truth. They're denying science, which is something we all blame the right for doing all the time. And we're denying the facts in front of us. The most common acts of terror in the Western world, as well as in the Asian world, as well as in Africa, are conducted by Islamic extremists. On the majority, billions of Muslims around the world are not. Yes, it is true. It is true. 673 people in 2011 were killed in Islamic terror attacks.
Yeah, and since then,
I can get you the yearly stats.
We'll look it up. But we're on time here, so we'll look it up.
I looked it up
I'm
earlier.
pretty sure.
Every single year it's growing. We just had another attack in London, which we're going to talk about separately
Sure.
in another topic, but it doesn't end. It's going to keep happening, and it is a battle of theory. So we are not fighting. This isn't like the idea of a war on terror.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. This isn't like a group of people that we can meet on the battlefield and fight.
Yeah, it's
It
an
doesn't work like
ideological
that.
war.
It's an ideological war.
Yeah, for sure.
And to say that this is an ideological war, but we can't blame the Muslims.
It's not
Why
that-
the fuck
that's
did we
not what
blame
they're saying.
Catholics when priests were raping people? The Pope had to come out and say, yes, there is a problem in the Catholic faith, and we all had no problem with that. Why is it a problem for Muslims to stand up and say
It's
there is
not.
a problem within the Muslim faith?
I think you're focusing
I'm jumping-
on one portion of the three.
But you
Because
can't
if you're looking-
you can't look over something.
I understand,
no,
but the
you
second
cannot
is
look
to-
over
the
something
second part
in
of it-
legislation.
I understand, but the second part of it is to develop an approach to reduce or eliminate religious discrimination, including Islamophobia, and collect data to contextualize
Yes.
hate crime reports. So
Yes.
the motion is not a bill. It's not a law.
It's a motion to set in motion
There's no
these
requirement
processes.
for the Prime Minister or his cabinet to take action on anything.
No,
in
but
the
it was a
motion.
majority vote
Yes.
approved by the Liberal.
It places
government.
no new legal restrictions on freedom of speech.
No, not yet.
It has no power to change the Canadian Charter of Rights.
Not
and
yet.
you can still publicly denounce Islam and Muslims if you want to,
For now.
but we still have hate. You can't have hate speech.
I know that, and
It's
there,
still- you
there's
still have freedom of
nothing.
speech, but you
but
can't-
hate speech is already illegal.
That's what I'm saying.
So then, what is the point of all of this? It is already illegal to be like, I want to kill you because of what you believe in. That's already illegal.
Exactly.
So what are we saying?
So it's
You want it to be
education.
illegal?
So right now, this is
No,
all
it's
about.
not.
See,
It
I
is
see
not.
this. No,
It
I
is
see
not
this.
education.
I see this as education
No,
to
it's
the
not.
people. So you said you're not afraid of Muslims.
Right. I am a minority at my school.
There you go. So you're not afraid of Muslims because you have exposure and education
Right.
on how they are as a. I don't want to say as a whole, but as a majority.
Right.
Let's say I would say.
And a minority, I mean that as an atheist, I'm a minority.
I would say that there is a large or a very small portion of Muslims that are radical and extreme, which
Yes.
we know that actually.
Yeah.
So
There are numbers. We know
Yeah,
how small
yeah.
they are.
So it's more. I would say that this motion is more about education and helping people understand what is up with
Where do you see
Islam and Muslims.
the idea of education? Because right here, the second point that's brought up on the CBC's website
Yeah.
is to quell the increasing public climate of hate and fear.
hate and fear.
Right.
So you
Now,
don't want to
you
decrease
want-
hatred against Muslims.
But you're not letting me finish my point. The idea that we're going to educate you,
Mhm.
but we as a government are still not willing to say that it's the term Islamic terrorism. How in the hell can you educate people if you're not being honest with them?
Okay, if
we
you're-
cannot. No, look, we cannot. Look at how shitty the education system is already.
Yeah.
We both went to Catholic high school, and what do you know about the Muslim faith? I learned far more about it from my friends outside than before.
I learned a lot about it in my world religions class.
I did.
That was a fantastic
we had
class.
different teachers.
That was
Either,
a great
either
class.
way-
I encourage you.
either way, we cannot rely on a government,
Mhm.
especially a government in this day and age, to be responsible for distributing the generally accepted notion of hatred and fear. If the people are like, we don't like and we are afraid of Muslims, if the majority of Canadians came out and said
Sure.
that, who in the hell is the government to say otherwise?
Well, that's like racism against black people.
And that's why racism was legal until the majority
government stepped in.
No, until the majority of people stepped in. The majority of Americans were not racist in the 60s. They weren't. And it wasn't until they stepped up, and it started obviously with the black community stepping up, and then the white community was like, yeah, like this is wrong, especially the white community from the north, and that's how that began.
Exactly.
So
So
this
you
is-
don't think that it's up to the government to reduce hatred in their country?
No, because people in our country, in very small amounts, are being they're being harassed for being Muslims. No one is being killed for it. And until someone is, that's when our government needs to step up and do something. Right now,
That one's
Muslims are killing people, and no one else is.
Well, I would disagree with that statement.
I'm
think
saying
lots
on
of
religious
people
on
are killing
religious.
people.
No,
Anyways,
not
that
for
is
religious
time.
purposes.
That is the time we have for today. Have yourself a fantastic week. We will be
Like,
back
comment, and
Monday,
subscribe.
Wednesday, and Friday. Adios, muchacho.